Hi. It's everyone's favorite character, Sparky if he was a collection of PNGs. This is a video I've kind of been wanting to make for a while now, in the sense that I've both been wanting to make some kind of speed paint-esque content again, and I've been meaning to talk about my OCDs a little bit. That's the gist of what's happening today. That's what's happening today. I probably have it in the background, just speed paints of me working on their designs and, finishing up their twisteds and colors, all that fun stuff. But yeah, this is kind of going to be similar to the designs video in the sense that, you know, it's just me talking about the designs a little bit, my headcanons, my lore, and yeah, but this time you can see the process and I'm here verbally talking to you face to face. But this first guy that you're seeing be drawn out right now is Sparky the Storm Cloud. You know, Sparky spelled normally, the way it should be. And, yeah, he's designed to be an extractor. He has 4 stars in skill check and extraction speed, 3 stars in movement, and then 2 stars in stam and stealth. He is a light-producing toon, thanks to the lightning, you know, the physical, literal lightning. He is pretty good in blackouts for that reason. He's like brightney level. If anything, his light would just be a little more yellow tinted. For his ability, he would have an active called Jolt, and it boosts his progression on a machine by like slightly less than what a jumper cable would do for you. But this time it's built in, and it has a cooldown of like 60 seconds, which is great. That's so good for him. With the twisted design that you've probably already seen me struggling with, my idea for him is that he would be raining ichor onto the ground, you know, because he's a cloud, and it would have this sort of build-up inside of him that would rain out and leave like a trail similar to what Finn's twisted has. And he would also be like at a similar speed to what Finn would be as well, you know, just because of how heavy he would get with the ichor inside of him. And whenever he hits you, he would stun you in place for a little bit. You know, give you like slowness 2, slowness 3, something along those lines for like 2 or 3 seconds. Like, I realized last night when I was writing out all of this that he's kind of just Finn if Finn was portable and wasn't machine oriented in this twisted. But you know, that's fine. That's okay. That's good for him. But yeah, that's kind of it for what I had figured out for him. I don't have trinkets laid out for any of them yet. I've never really been good at thinking of that sort of stuff, so if you guys have any suggestions for what a trinket of his would be, I would appreciate that. In terms of twisted research, I do have a sort of concept description fitting out for him, which reads, "Overcome by stress and anxiety, this twisted sadness has become infectious. If you let him too close, his lightning can stun you enough for him to rain on your parade." Which, you know, silly little rain joke because he's a little rain cloud. That's it for a lot of the in-game stuff. If I have any interactions or dialogue, I'll put them on screen at the minute. They'll be on screen for you to read and look at. But that's it. And in terms of, like, relationships, character dynamics and stuff, he is a bully. He's a bully character. He would be in this fun little duo with Shrimper, and they would run around Garden View terrorizing the public. They would make the toons' lives a living hell, they would make the children's life a living hell. They would not be easy on the toon handlers in the slightest. They would be horrendous. But you know, they're a fun little duo. And like, he's less terrible to everyone than Shrimpo is. He's a little more tolerable than that. But in like the vast majority of the relationships that I have figured out for him, most of the toons tolerate him at best. None of them really like him. Besides, say, I think it was Goob and Finn that were kind of on his good side. Goob just because I can't imagine him really hating anyone, even though Sparky doesn't really feel the same towards him. He kind of like really dislikes Goob actually. But like in terms of Finn, he doesn't feel as positively towards Finn as Finn feels towards him, but they are pretty good friends. And I like to think that Sparky and Shrimpo and Finn would be in this little trio that would hang out together, and he would be one of Shrimpo's, if not Shrimpo's closest friends, and he would like, Shrimper would feel safe opening up to him more than he would any other toon. And that's, like, it, really. Dandy doesn't really give him the time of day. Blitzen and Tegan especially just find him really annoying. And like Sprout, Shelley probably wouldn't be averse to being his friend, but a lot of the maids just find him really irritating. A lot of the rares and a lot of the other toons in general just really don't like him. Like, sorry, buddy. With the story of, you know, his description, the description that I gave him, talking about his anxiety and stress, I like to think that he would only become a Twisted after Shrimpo had already been turned. So like it would be like the grief and stress of losing his friend to this ichor operation that would really like do him in the sense that it would stress him out enough for him to lower his guard, perform less effectively on runs, and eventually turn victim to the ichor and turn Twisted. And that's like really it for Sparky. That's like really all I have figured out for him. Again, I don't have trinkets figured out for really any of them, so if anyone has any ideas for that, that would be helpful. But yeah, it's just my little lightning boy. So yeah, moving on to the next OC. This guy is called Snapshot, and he is a photographer in Garden View because he's a camera. Yay! Yeah, he's probably an uncommon, and he's more of a survivalist toon rather than anything else. He has 3 health, 3 stars in skill check, stealth, and extraction speed, 2 stars in movement speed, and 4 stars in stamina. So I like to think that he's like pretty rounded out. He's pretty well rounded. You know, he's almost got like perfectly straight down the middle stats. He'd probably be like pretty cheap too. More of a starter-friendly toon. And his ability is yet another active, called Say Cheese, Camera. And he'd use his flash to stun the closest Twisteds, like within a specific range, for about 3 seconds. And this would have a cooldown of 80. So it would be great for like getting away from really tricky Twisteds, or like saving other people on a team. Which, like, his ability goes pretty in line well with his Twisted version as well, because I figured that, you know, his Twisted, whenever, like, he hits you, similar to, like, how Sparky's ability triggers when he hits you, but whenever Snapshot does it, it kind of, like, yeah, he just flashbangs you for about 3 seconds. It would, like, really limit your, like, vision. It wouldn't, like, dampen your speeds or anything, it would just make it, like, it would just, like, disorient you, make it harder to see. Like, reverse blackout. Whoopsies. But yeah, he's like pretty simple. He's not too fancy, because he isn't uncommon after all. He's not like rare or anything. I didn't want to give him an ability, or like any stats or anything that would be like too, I don't know, overpowered for the tier that he's in. I don't know. But yeah, he's a pretty gentle fella. He likes to, you know, preserve memories, take photos of his friends and all the people in Garden View. Whenever there were, like, I like to think that whenever, like, school classes had trips to Garden View, he would be the one to, like, take the group photo at the end of the trip and then print it out for them to take home, or like to take back to the school, and that would be his job. He's so silly. Speaking of Flutter, actually, now that I've mentioned her, I like to think that her and Snapshot would be pretty good friends as well. If nothing else, just because Snapshot is one of the more quiet toons, one of the more gentle-hearted of the bunch, less energy to freak her out, because I like to imagine that she's pretty shy and skittish, so they would be like pretty good friends. And he gets along like decently with everyone. I wouldn't say he's the type to like really dislike anyone besides like Shrimpo, Sparky, a lot of the mains, V because she's just kind of arrogant and annoying, Sprout because he's Sprout. But yeah, like for the most part, he gets along pretty fine with everyone. He does like scrapbooking as well. He likes scrapbooking a lot to like have a place to hold all those memories that he's taken photos of. Like one set place where he keeps all of his work and he looks back on when he's lonely and down, and he can just reminisce about, you know, good times with his friends. Which might be a little hard on him when everyone starts turning into a twisted. You know, he's like one of the only one who's like really preserved any of the memory that they had outside of, you know, concept art that existed before they had turned. And like looking back on those memories, knowing that he'll never get those back, knowing that he'll never get his friends back, would mess with him. That's like kind of all I have to say about him. He's kind of a simple character, but like he was the first OC that I ever made for Dendy's World, so I didn't want to go like too crazy, too all out for, you know, my first guy. He's kind of near and dear to my heart though, being the first. I feel like your first OC for a fandom will always have a special place, even if they're not like the most interesting guy of all time. But yeah, while the speed paint is running in the background, I'll think of like a few other notes that I have, just unrelated to the situation, unrelated to the video even. Yeah, I want to like thank you all for the growing support on my channel. Let me know if you like these kinds of, you know, yapping sessions, rambling session videos, because I like to talk to you guys, but I've had like comments on like the design video, so that like the text went too fast and the font was hard to read. And like, dude, I'm really bad. I'm really bad at timing that stuff. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry to everyone who struggled to read or pick up on the lore in that video. And for this one, I thought I'd try, you know, verbalizing my thoughts. I figured that they might be easier to process at normal speed if it was me talking to you. But then again, let me know if I'm talking too fast. I don't know. With the, like, growing amount of subscribers that I have, I've considered making, like, a Discord server or something at, like, 20k subs. And I don't know if that's a good idea. I do not know if that would go over well, so please let me know if that's something that you would like to be a part of, if that's something you would like me to set up. This is probably going to be the last OC of the video. Not that he's the last OC that I have, of course. Obviously I have more. But, yeah, the last notable ones I kind of want to save for, like, a lore video, or, like, a more in-depth talk about, you know, my headcanons and my quote-unquote AU for Denny's World. Because, admittedly, I kind of roped them into the, like, main plotline of the ichor operation, and I've kind of given them a little special treatment. And, yeah, like, back on topic, anyway. The guy behind me, the post-it note fellow that you've seen me drawing, his name is York. He is a kiter, a distractor, with 2 stars in skill check and extraction speed, 3 stars in stealth, and 4 stars in movement speed and stamina. He's built for distracting, and I think it fits him very well because I imagine he's kind of like pretty good friends with Roger, and they do a lot of research together, and York likes taking a lot of interviews, getting to know a lot of people, journaling, writing articles. Yeah, he's a journalist, and he likes gathering all that information, and a lot of the information he'd pass on to Roger for his research and his studies, especially about like the ichor stuff. He'd be like very like curious and often snooping through places he admittedly shouldn't be to find information that he would then pass on to people like Roger and Brightney and Glisten, whoever's bugging Roger about working with him at the time. For his ability, I don't actually have one yet. I've been really struggling to think of one for York. I don't know. Like, everything I think of is like not fit for his character, or it's just fucking Roger again. Like, yeah, he's the research guy. What I have at the minute is like a passive ability called Knowledge Hoarder, which gives him like a double ichor boost from completing machines and picking up capsules. So instead of like 10 ichor for completing a machine, you would get 20. Something like that, yeah. And that would be the ability, but I don't know. Yeah, it's mainly just the Twisted that I think is the most interesting part of him. I don't know if the speed print is this far along yet, but in the colouring, I add little scribbles. The ichor has kind of like written out scribbles and notes on his like post-its and like legs and sleeves and stuff. Yeah, it's just like I thought it would be a cute detail, hobby for journalism shining through in his Twisted design. For what his Twisted would do, he would be a stationary, or at least for like most of the round. I like to think that he would pop up every few seconds, like V does with her ads, but instead of adverts it would be like questionnaires with like yes or no questions, and they would all be like answered yes to, you would be expected to answer yes to them. And if he gets like 3 no's in a row from any player, he would be aggroed and start like hunting people down. It would be like, it'd be like something like that, yeah. I don't know if that's going to change as well. He's probably the least thought out of all of them. Yet somehow, one of my favorites. Yeah, he's just silly. And like, I can imagine it getting pretty annoying. But in my defense, so does these ads. Especially when you're trying to distract. And that's about it for the twisted design, I think. Yeah, I mentioned that he was pretty good friends with Roger. In like, little side tangent here, a little ramble. With Roger, there's like a specific group of people that I imagine constantly come to bug him and help him with his research. And these people include, you know, the previously mentioned Brightney, Glisten mostly just because he likes Roger's attention. Yet Tegan would help sometimes. Toodles would try her best. She wouldn't be very good at it, but she's trying her best. And York would be one of them. So he would be friends with like that entire group of people. And like the rest of the people that he doesn't really talk to that often, he would be like pretty close with, he'd be like fine with. They'd be friends, but they wouldn't be like as close as he is to the people as passionate about research and journalism and like finding out new things as he is. He's kind of similar to the way that I view Goob, in the sense that I don't imagine him really having negative feelings towards anyone, but you know, there would be people that don't like him, like Sparky and Shrimpo again, just because they're the bullies of the group, and Dandy, who I imagine doesn't really like anyone besides like Astro maybe. And again, let me know if you have any suggestions for trinkets for any of the 3 of them. Still stumped on those, And I think that's about it for the video. Again, there are more OCs that I have to share, but they're probably going to be saved for a different video, one that's more lore-oriented. And again, let me know if you like this kind of video. Let me know if you'd like me to make a Discord server, like either soon or like at 20k, whenever I reach that. Yeah, let me know about your OCs. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you were using this as like background noise and you were drawing anything, it looks great. You're doing great. You're doing awesome. And yeah, basically just thank you for all the support, and thank you for coming to hang out with me and listen to me rambling about my silly guys for a little while. Yeah, bye.